Hey YouTube, this is Steven with Simple Tesla Life. Welcome again to my channel. I thought I'd talk a little bit today on my drive home. Again, I'm in my Chevy Volt. This is the car I'm selling. I'm getting ready to replace it with the Model 3. And I thought I'd talk just a little bit about the, how I was going to equip the Model 3. It's pretty straightforward. But actually I do have some questions for any of you who have already purchased, and maybe you could put those down in the comments. But as I was looking at the options online today, I didn't see an option for a long-range rear-wheel drive vehicle. Maybe I think that was something they offered previously, but when I go in to configure based on my zip code today, and again, I don't know if Tesla does things by zip code. Maybe they do offer that vehicle in California, I don't know. But because I'm in Colorado, what I see is there's a standard range plus, which is a 240 mile range battery. I think it's the 50 kilowatt pack. And after the standard range plus, which again is the kind of the base, that's the base model, then it jumps up to all-wheel drive long range. I don't see any option for rear-wheel drive long-range battery pack. I think I would seriously consider that if that were an option, but again, I don't see that as an option, so I don't have any recourse, I think, other than maybe in the used market. I think there were some long-range models that were built previously. But again, feel free to go into the comments and correct me if I'm wrong on that. Maybe there's zip codes that they allow that vehicle to be sold. But so the reason I'm considering naturally the all-wheel drive long range, which I'll go into here in just a minute. The other option is the performance all-wheel drive. Sounds like a great car. I'm not wanting to spend that much money. And I think for me, certainly the all-wheel drive long range will be great. So naturally, my thought process being here in Colorado, and this being a state where you can get a lot of snow, we go up into the mountains in the wintertime frequently to ski. I think it'd just be a great option to have all-wheel drive. And my Volt today, it's a front-wheel drive car. I get along just fine with it, although I think last year we took it maybe twice into the mountains. One of those was to ski, and it was not on a day where there was a lot of, there was any threat of a snowstorm. So the roads were okay, and I've just left the all-season tires on this Volt, and it does fine. I'm used to driving in winter weather. I grew up in Idaho, and the winters were even harsher there than they are here, and so cold and winter weather driving is not a big deal to me. But I think again, if you have the option to choose, and you're in a cold weather climate, I think all-wheel drive certainly is always a great, safe option. It's just naturally a more costly option to have the all-wheel drive. But then there's the aspect that I look at of for an investment like this, and I do see a car like this Tesla as an investment, something that you can keep many years. They're building these cars to last an awfully long time. I'm going to come back and do a video on that and play back some clips of what was shared by Elon in some prior forums about the longevity of these vehicles and how they're building them for long-term use. So anyway, I come back to my decision. I did watch a number of YouTube videos on people that have rear-wheel drive vehicles in cold climates, whether it be Canada or Chicago or other places, and it sounds like definitely there's people out there that are doing that. They're putting winter tires on the car in the winter, and it sounds like it does really good. And I believe that. I think with the excellent traction control system which Tesla has in their cars, I think the rear-wheel drive with snow tires will do really well. Again, I think for me and probably for resale value in this market, I think all-wheel drive certainly is going to be the better play. There just are so many people that get all-wheel drive vehicles out here. You see lots and lots of Subarus, lots of Jeeps. Certainly there's lots of trucks. I think that's also just part of the Mountain West lifestyle is there's a lot of people who really love trucks out here. But anyway, there's just I think a relatively high percentage, certainly compared to other parts of the country, and especially compared to colder climates, that you're going to see all-wheel drive vehicles much more consistently out here in Colorado, probably Utah, certainly places like Idaho, Wyoming, etc. So I think for resale, for me, that plays into it. And there's also honestly just the hassle factor. I'd rather not have to hassle with winter tires if I don't have to, and if I can keep all seasons on it and run those all winter long with a car that's all-wheel drive, then to me that's even better. I just don't have to worry about where I'm storing the tires and taking them on and off in the fall and then in the spring, etc. So I think, again, in my thought process, that's kind of what's led me down that path. The color option, I'm planning to do white. I've always liked white, even though it's now the base color, which is great, because again, I've read and seen that previously white, I think, was a $1,000 or $2,000 option. I want to say 8 months ago or something. So I like white. I even, when I went and test drove the Model 3, the sales associate had their white Model 3, and they had the aero rims, I think that's what they're called, but those covers, the rim covers, taken off, and I felt like the wheels and rims underneath were great, really nice looking. So kudos to Tesla for, even though the aero provides some benefit from a reduced drag and improved aerodynamics to give you even more increased efficiency on the road, I'll probably honestly just take the aero covers off and use the rims as they are stock. So again, good option there. I've also seen the videos about let me say, I'm not considering the performance. I know many of you love the performance, and honestly, I think it'd be great to have if maybe I wasn't so practical. I'm just a pretty practical person that way. So the performance doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But I did see a video, of one individual who got the Performance Model 3, ended up hitting a pothole. We do have a number of potholes, certainly here with, again, the winter conditions and the road deteriorating at the end of a winter with the freezing and the thawing. We do get a lot of potholes, and I saw a video where another YouTuber had their Model 3 on a road trip and hit a big pothole and apparently ruined two rims on the vehicle. I think it was a front right and rear right, and that cost him $2,000. And in fact, just literally a week ago, I saw him posting a video on aftermarket rims to swap out with the ones that he had because of the significant cost difference, as well as the ride dynamics of a 19-inch profile rim and tire versus an 18-inch, the cushion you get. So again, that's my practical side coming out. You'll probably hear that a lot in my videos. I am certainly averse to those kinds of risks that might cost a lot down the road. So I just as soon have 18s on it and not have to worry as much about the damage you get from hitting a decent sized pothole. I think the other thing that I'm curious about, I've read about the HomeLink transmitter that you can have installed in the car, I guess, at the Tesla service center. When I went to configure a vehicle, I don't see anywhere where you select that, so I'm kind of curious if that selection comes after you put your deposit down, or do you have to purchase literally after you take delivery of the car? So maybe I'm curious from some of you that have had that done, if you could explain that as well in the comments or mention how that takes place. But I do want to have the home link service installed in the car, and satellite radio. I also have not seen anything on the Tesla website, at least with regards to, say, ordering the car with satellite. My guess is it's already got it installed. I would think that they already have it installed and then you just activate, but probably it's something I need to do a little bit more research on. So those are probably the two things that I didn't see anywhere on the order delivery side before I've submitted, or before I get ready to submit the order. As I've mentioned, I will be submitting the order soon. I've kind of been just getting my car, my current car, the Volt, up for sale. Kind of want to see what kind of pricing I might be able to get. I've already looked at the trade values. Trade is below where I'm at on it from a loan perspective, so I'm a little underwater, but I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, if I have to trade, that's certainly a possibility, but I think I'd rather just sell the vehicle and get a little bit more out of it than where I'm at on a trade. So anyway, I'm really close. I also know, you can submit your order, and I think right now they're quoting, 4 to 6 weeks. At least that's what the service center sales consultant was telling me. It could be 4 to 6 weeks. So I will likely get the order in probably sometime this week. I think taking delivery sometime between middle to end of October would be a good timing for me. So anyway, appreciate your feedback, and again, welcome, and glad to have you at my channel. I've got a number of other videos I'm going to be preparing. As I mentioned, there were some comments in the last few months that have been made about the longevity of these vehicles, and I do want to get into that quite a bit, because again, I think when you look at the value of a Tesla long term, you really are looking at something you can't compare to a regular gasoline car. The life of a gas car, yes, you can certainly see some cars, well-made cars. I've seen them with Toyotas, Hondas, and even some other makes and models, right? You can get 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, well, probably more like 200,000, 300,000 miles on them. Relatively worry-free, although with maintenance, right? Because there's going to be a lot of maintenance over the life of that, 200,000, 300,000 miles in terms of oil changes and lubrication of various parts and belts and all sorts of different things. And that's not to say I think Tesla's is zero, but there certainly isn't any oil changes. And if there's lubrication, I think that those intervals are much less. And again, the vehicle's been engineered with the way the electric motors work to be a much longer life vehicle. So we'll talk about that on another video. If you have any questions for me, put them in the comments, but hit subscribe if you want to watch more of my content that will be coming. And thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.